All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love, a love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service.
Arise, O souls, arise.
Good morning. I'm Scott England, a member of All Souls, and whether you're here in the room or watching online, we're glad you're here with us today. Your presence enriches all of us and our time together. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation. That means that our tradition is a large tent with room for many beliefs and approaches to the questions that matter. It's our values of inclusion, compassion, and justice that hold us together. We seek to make the beloved community, making room for everyone and creating a world where everyone's needs are met. You may be new here today. We're glad that you're here. And may the congregation greet all who are new here today by saying welcome. Oh, whoever you are and whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here today. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today.
I am the Reverend Erin Dajka Holley, your minister here at All Souls. About once a year during the summer, I enjoy having a question box service. The way it works is that you think of a question that you would like me to answer out loud to everyone, write it on the index card that you received at the door, and then turn it in to the ushers during the first congregational song. If you did not get a pencil and a note card when you came in, raise your hand and an usher will bring you them. So, right in a minute, we're gonna give you time to think while Anthony's gonna play some music before we light the chalice. And then later in the service, instead of a sermon, I will answer as many of your questions as I can. A defining part of Unitarian Universalism is that we encourage questioning. We recognize that everyone has had different experiences and thinks about the world in different ways. There is no one set of answers that will make sense or resonate with everyone. And we believe that's great, because we are stronger for our differences. One of our Unitarian Universalist values is pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. Knowing that we will never all agree on the answers to the big questions, we focus on wrestling with them together. I try to lead services that get you to think, to feel, and to connect. I want you to leave thinking about the service and how it applies to your life and your viewpoints. I love it when you bring your wonderings and thoughts to one another. That is the theological work of Unitarian Universalism. Shelley Jackson Denham wrote the hymn, "We Laugh, We Cry," in 1980, which we'll sing in a few minutes. The last verse states, "And in our search for peace, may we finally see, even to question truly is an answer." It is in that spirit that we worship together this morning. Please take your time to reflect and start writing your questions.
Our chalice lighting today is from Deborah Falk. The chalice lit among us is a beacon of hope in a world of crisis, a beacon of possibility made manifest in community, a beacon of warmth through our interconnections, a beacon of light illuminating our shared wisdom, a beacon of connection by our being together. Now, please rise in body or spirit to join in reading our covenant and for the following song. Together we affirm, goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We were going to announce right now to please pass your cards to the center so that our ushers can pick them up during the hymn. I'm sorry.
We need to feel the freedom.
may be seated. And I would love it if the young and the young at heart may come forward to join me for some intergenerational time together. Good morning, good morning. So, a little bit ago, I talked about today being a question box service. And the adults wrote down questions for me on note cards, which I now have. They passed them in, and I'm going to answer them out loud later. Yes, Jude? And Jude wrote one too. Yay! But you know, I've been thinking about this service, and maybe it's not fair that I'm always the one to answer questions. Because just like you and the adults are full of questions, I'm full of questions too. So I'm going to ask you and the adults questions, and anyone can raise their hand to answer the question. The way we're going to do this is that for each question, we will have one kid answer, one adult answer, one kid, one adult. Neil, to whom I'm married, hi Neil, has a microphone that he will bring to adults, and I have this microphone for the kids. Only answer out loud if you have a microphone, so that everybody, including those online, can hear you. And maybe, just maybe, keep the answers brief. Short. Little answers, not huge answers. Okay. Yes! Excellent. So, a question for everybody, and we're going to go kid, adult, kid, adult. Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Okay, an adult. Raise your hands if you want to answer the question. I got Brian there.
Chocolate.
Byron, would you like to speak in the microphone?
Chocolate.
Okay. And then we're getting one more from an adult, and then the next question. I know you have opinions. You're Unitarian Universalist.
Vanilla.
We got another vanilla. Okay, we're half and half. Next question. What helps you feel better when you've had a bad day? Jude?
It just went through my head and then out my head.
Okay. Madeline, what makes you feel better?
Playing with my toys.
You heard that? Playing with her toys. We've got an adult?
Going for a walk.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, go ahead.
Playing with my, squishing my huge squishmallow sprinkles.
Oh, squishing a huge squishmallow. Mm-hmm. Adult?
Chocolate.
Amen. All right. Next question. What does community mean to you?
Helping one another.
Okay, helping one another. Do we have an adult?
Acceptance.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna give another one to Brian, or to Byron. What does community mean to you? Brains are hard to use sometimes. I struggle too. Should I ask somebody else, Byron, while you struggle?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
hope.
Hope. Community means hope. And an adult.
Showing up even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient.
Okay. Last question. This is a hard one, so I'll give you a minute to think about it. Maybe not a whole minute. I will give you at least 5 seconds to think about it. What happens when we die? Okay. Alyssa.
So you get put into a coffin and get buried.
Okay. Do we have an adult answer? What happens when we die? Max. Thank you.
We return to the earth and are born anew.
Okay. One more. Go ahead.
People make us turn to ashes, I think.
Okay. Some people are cremated. That's the word for making somebody into ashes. Another adult.
We carry on in the spiritual realm.
Carry on, spiritual realm. So not all of us have the same answers. Tell me about it after the service, Jude. What wonderful answers you have given me this morning. All of you and all of you. And I will hope that you can talk to someone about your answers after the service, since we didn't get to hear from everybody. So thank you, kids. Thank you, adults. Let us sing as the children leave for their activities.
So, one of the joyful duties I get as moderator is to introduce our offering. As you see today, we had a variety of answers to questions. We have a variety of people in our community, and the community means different things to each one of us. But one of the things that we all share is that this community is important to us because we're here and because we support it. And one way we can support it is by making an offering today. So the offering will now be generously given and gratefully received. Please join me in the dedication of our offering. We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create change toward a just and compassionate society.
This is from Letter 4 by poet Rainer Maria Rilke. You are so young, so much before all beginning, that I would like to beg you, dear sir, as well as I can, to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and to try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers, which could not be given to you now, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer.
Thank you, Brett. I can't ever remember a time that I have actually been able to listen to solo bari sax. I've played with bari sax in pit orchestras before, including, I don't know, time with the Music Man, where at the end, made some pretty amazingly loud, terrible noises with the bari sax when the kids were playing in their band. But thank you so much for being here. Okay, so some of these questions are similar to each other, and so I'm going to read them and answer, and I might skip a question if I notice that it's similar to something that I already answered. How come Kansas City UU ministers do a question service in August? Humor? Question mark. I thought this would just be a fun place to start. The reason I do this is that this is a time that I'm trying to make a lot of plans for the coming church year. And so that kind of explains the planning, so that a little bit more of my time can go into that planning than also having to research and create a sermon. The other reason is that I learn so much about you from your questions. It's like a great way for me to kind of take the blood pressure of the church. Where are people anxious? Because it usually comes through in your questions. And that's not to be second guessing your questions, but this is great data for me about where all y'all are. Okay. Given world history and our current struggles, do you think humans are basically evil just under the surface? Yeah. So, one of the long-time precepts in Unitarianism has been that people are inherently good. That has been underlying, and there's, even in Universalism, there's a little bit of that where, everybody's saved. So there's something worthwhile about everybody. And so one of the things that kind of has happened in our faith tradition over the last, I'd say about 80 years, is that we have accepted that everybody's good, things are getting better, because that has felt like the trend, and it has felt comfortable. And we stopped talking about evil. We stopped talking about sin. And that means I haven't really studied about those in the Unitarian Universalist context, because there hasn't been a lot written about it. I think it's something we need to talk about, and I do not want to err on the side of assuming that humans are inherently evil. I think that there are reasons that people lose their connection to meaningful community. I think that there are reasons that people have experienced tremendous trauma, adverse experiences, all sorts of things that can make it a lot harder to maintain those healthy human connections that are at the root of our acting as good people. And I think that to a certain extent, what we are seeing socially has normalized acting poorly to other people. And I don't think that it's under the surface people want to act that way. I think it's that they start getting the message that maybe they should. And that there's something cool about it. That's what the cool kids are doing. Why did I become a minister? To a certain extent, that's what the cool kids were doing. I have that question in this pile. I just don't know if I'm going to get to it today. But that's a tiny piece of it, but it's true. And so as people have kind of been given permission that, clearly it doesn't matter if people at the highest level are saying really cruel things. What it does is it makes space for all of those insecurities that we all have, and all of the things that we inherently get angry about, those questions of why me? My life is awful in some way. And it's hard for anybody to say some of that is my own actions, and to say some of that is huge societal pressure things. And if you haven't taken college level courses on sociology, anthropology, economics, like if you haven't been given that context, seeing that, oh, society is causing these changes, economic forces are causing these changes and nobody's doing anything about it, I think it gets easy to look for the scapegoat. And even if you do know how to play with all of the complicated factors that cause just about everything that happens in the world, it's like the answer to everything, it's complicated, is that it's easier as a human, as that part of us that just wants to be loved and cared for, to project out, to find some excuse that isn't you, that isn't something you can't understand. And the political environment is feeding on that impulse. It is encouraging that impulse. People are hearing people do it constantly, and therefore they say, oh, well, then I can do that too. Easy answers can cause us to stop seeing the big. And so that's me, I guess, using a sociological argument for where this action that I think should be described as evil is coming from, because it's definitely not coming out of the love that is at the center of our faith. It's also something that I think all of us serving congregations and all of us doing theology and all of us in this room who are doing theology because you're doing it whether you think you are or not, is to start thinking about, okay, like, what is sin? What is the love at the center? How do we construe what evil is? Because I would have assumed that most people in this room, and it's not everybody because we're all very different, believe or will think about evil in a way that's not, well, it's demons and the devil exerting their power. I could be wrong, but I know some of you. I know that's not how I think about it, as much as I thoroughly enjoyed watching Supernatural back in the day. But, because it's nice to be able to put it out there, to say, that's evil. But it's always going to be more complicated, because that is what it is. And part of what I see my job as a minister and a preacher is to make things more complicated for all of you. Because it's never easy. Humaning, never easy. Okay, this is probably the hardest question. What is your favorite dessert? I have to pick one? Are you kidding me? What is my favorite dessert? Dessert. Sugar and I, we get along so well until my stomach says, what did you just do? Okay, how do we keep so many people from thinking of anyone different as the other? And my first response to that is we can't keep people from doing it. There's nothing that we can do proactively, especially for people who are not immediately in our lives. We can complicate the other for people. One of the things that I just always go back to in my mind was the amazing success when I lived in Minnesota of their Vote No campaign against the constitutional amendment that would ban gay marriage, or I should say marriage equality. And the way, and in Minnesota, right, like the cities, beautiful Blue Haven. The rest of the state, not so much. And the way that we did it was a lot of phone banking. And that phone banking was not, this is how I want you to vote. It wasn't, how are you going to vote? It was, I want to talk to you about. It was people who were comfortable saying to a stranger, I'm not straight, making those phone calls. It was people who loved people who were not straight, making those phone calls and talking about how important that is and what that identity is. And it gave the person on the other end of the line a couple opportunities. One was to ask questions, and another was to have LGBT folks not be something out there, but on the other end of that line. Because for some of those folks, they didn't know anybody who's out. Not to say that they didn't know anybody who was LGBT, but they didn't know anybody who was out. Let's be honest about that piece. And that human connection complicated their perspective. Oh, this is another person. And that human connection is consistently what undoes the othering. How do we keep going when justice and individual fulfillment seems further and further away? Whew. This is the struggle right now, isn't it? I think this, I can't imagine there's anyone in this room who isn't on some level struggling with this. How do we keep going? And I think we encourage one another. I want to encourage you to be checking in with one another. Hey, how you doing today? I'm thinking of you. It's kind of amazing how much that can do. Somebody left, I left it over there because I didn't want it to distract me while I was going through the questions, but somebody left me a non-question to just tell me I was doing a great job. And that means a lot. And I think that we have to choose joy sometimes. We can't wait for joy. We can't wait for it. If we just sit back and wait for it and expect it's going to find us at some point, it may not. And anything that you can do, kind of like I was asking you and the kids today about, what do you do when you've had a bad day? I think it's perfectly fair to keep a list of the things that give you a boost. Do you love dancing? Who needs music? Ask my husband. Who needs music for dancing? We don't. And let alone space. You can dance in your chair. What can you listen to? What can you engage with? Who can you engage with that helps you connect to joy? Because joy is more than just I get a boost. It is a choice to find good. It is a choice to say, yep, dumpster fire, but I'm going to live in joy right now. And joy is resistance. I've preached this before, that the whole point of the 24-hour news cycle, in which it's just that at us all the time, is designed to dishearten us. It's designed to make it feel impossible. It is designed to disenfranchise us. It's designed to keep us from voting. It's designed to keep us from talking to people. And we have to choose joy. And we have to sing joyful songs at protests. We have to do things for joy. How effective was it when you had people in blow-up costumes and frog costumes showing up at protests, saying, I choose joy? That pissed some people pretty high up off. So we can keep doing that, because what it tells them is that we're not going to be squashed. And that if we bring joy, if we bring songs of joy, if we bring joy in our hearts, if we are dancing in the streets, they can't look at that and say these people are being violent. So joy, I think, is one of the best things that we can do. And I know that in some ways I have a really great thing that my brain is wired in a way that it's easy for me to connect to childlike joy. You see me do it. But I give you permission to. How do we embrace those whom we must love at great distance, physically, emotionally, and politically? I think that the key word there is love. I've really connected with the love at the center that's part of the new UU values. And I've connected with that sense of love encompassing all the kinds of love that aren't about romance and intimacy, and how extending love can be big things and it can be little things, and that making that connection of love, even when it's in situations of distance, in situations of being physically distant, that one text message that said, hey, I'm thinking about you. That's an act of love. It takes 10 seconds. It's an act of love. Emotionally distant, I think that can be an act of love that is not necessarily something that the other person will necessarily receive. That can be our acts of holding someone in our heart, putting out that feeling in intangible ways that I love that person, even though they've set up a boundary. I have some relationships that I've had to put up some boundaries, and I'm still sending that love. Because I think that our expressing that love within ourselves maintains a connection, at least from our end. And I think that is powerful for our own well-being. And politically, I think that becomes acts of love that are listening even though it enrages you, trying to make sense of where those political positions are coming from that connect deeper than those words. Anything we can do to connect to the humanity of someone else, to remind ourselves, wow, they just said something really hurtful. I wonder what's hurting inside of them that they would say that. It doesn't excuse what they've said. And it's perfectly fine to call someone out and say, wow, do you realize what you just said and how hurtful that is? But to also see that it's coming out of human pain. I would even say that all of the horrors that are coming out of our president right now is all coming out of his own human pain. He may just be an evil man. I also see that he is human. And he has made choices that are not good choices, and I will not forgive that. And at the same time, he learned that this behavior will get him something he needs to feed his own insecurities. He has been hurt, and this is what he's doing with it, is hurting other people. It doesn't excuse it, but he's human. And the first principle from our principles before the values was the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and I think that's one of the hardest things to actually extend. And I struggle with it. And it used to be back in college that George W. Bush has worth and dignity. It got worse. It got worse. I'm not excusing anything he did, but it got worse. So that's where my thoughts are on that. Are there any particular partnerships with other churches, nonprofits, agencies, or movements I would like us to lean into that would help enliven our mission? And the one that I'm starting to lean into right now is More Squared. They're not a perfect organization. They're not perfect. They've had struggles, and we do not agree on all justice issues with all of the member congregations of More Squared. Period. This is true. Not all of the member congregations are at the same place that we are around being radically welcoming of LGBTQIA+ people. Because it's a diverse group of congregations. We don't all agree on issues of bodily autonomy and reproductive rights. But we do agree on economic justice. We do agree on eliminating racism. We are all fervently connected in those areas. And those are still very big, important areas. Racism is looking a little bit different in the country right now, but that doesn't undo the fact that nothing has happened about the rest of the structures that we were talking about 5 years ago around racism. It didn't go away. It's just now we're seeing more blatant racism coming from our federal government. It's still work. It's still work in the Kansas City community, and I think that it is still central to our mission to create change. It's one of the things I think that's really fascinating about our mission is that it names creating change. And creating change is where justice lies. I love that we feed people. And that is creating change in their lives, but that is not necessarily creating the change towards a more just and equitable society. And we need both. The world needs both. But More Squared is taking on initiatives that are actually trying to make very real change in things that are happening in this city. And how trying to change where priorities are by uplifting things like Brush Creek. One of their projects has been bringing to the city, wait a minute, Brush Creek looks pretty good on this western side. What happens when you start moving east? What does that look like? And what can we do about it? So it's the work itself is partially symbolic, but it's also saying, okay, you say where you don't have racism, look at that. But at the same time, it's also improving the lives of everybody who lives on the east side of Troost, right? Because that space could actually be a lovely place for them to enjoy. And so that's just one thing that they're doing. And it can be rough as Unitarian Universalists with More Squared because everybody else is Christian. Everybody else is Christian right now. And I kind of have to put that aside for myself because more and more is coming out in this political climate that we can't cherry pick our partners. We can't. if we cherry pick our partners, if we are asking for our partners to be 100% absolutely on board with all of the issues we're on board with and doing it the right way, we'll sit here by ourselves. And that attitude has led to not making as many strides as we could. When all sorts of organizations and political movements on the left have said they're not liberal enough. They're not doing it the right way. Well, then you discounted a bunch of people that could be in your corner on some level. And so I'm working on that in myself. But we can't do it alone. And building those relationships is continually key. So I love that someone's asking about partnerships and things like that. And I always want to know about more. And one of the things that I'm hoping from you in our justice work moving forward, I'm not aware of everything going on. And each of you is connected to this community in a different way. And I'm not going to be in a position to say, this is what we're doing and this is how we're going to do it, and be the one organizing this stuff by myself. Not only is that not healthy for me, it's not healthy for the church. And so as you are aware of organizations, projects, and things like that, that's like, oh, I'd love to get the church involved. I mean, talk to me, and then let's talk about getting at least 5 other people on board. And then let's pursue it, because that's how things are going to happen, is if all of us are like, oh, we could be doing this. How do we make that work? And then you try things, and they might work for a little while, and then they might fall apart, or they might work for a long time. We could be having, a bunch of things. I'd love to see where your ideas are and where your leadership is to be bringing people together to start doing this work outside of being individuals. I will do one more because I'm aware of time. What is something that gives you hope about our congregation, city, country, or the world? Because for me, hope exists outside of the tangible. For me, the hope comes from simply knowing so many good people who care. Because that's the start, people who care. I could say that clearly 83% of people in Missouri heard my sermon last Sunday. Warren made that joke. That came from him. But that people are showing up to care. I mean, hope is not about tangible evidence. It's about hope. It's in the realm of faith. Tangible evidence can connect us back into that hope, which does help. And I will say that my flame's a little bit brighter, saying, oh, people who showed up to the primary this past week made a decision with which I seriously agree. Great. But I want to also answer about hope for our congregation. And I'm amazed by all y'all. Okay? I'm just going to say that. I'm amazed by all y'all. I love you dearly. And I know that as this congregation is slowly growing, as the feeling in this congregation is becoming ever more joyful and warm, and I hear this from my colleagues who come to preach with you, they're like, your congregation just feels so good when I walk in the room. I'm like, well, yeah, they're amazing, duh. That is the hope of this congregation. It's all of you. And it's the way that you are being so kind to everyone who walks through the door. Whether they are people that you have known for years and are already friends with, or people who you have seen around for years but haven't been friends with before, or it's brand new people that are showing up. Your warmth is attractive, and it shows your dedication to this congregation. And it is how much you care for each other and what we have together as an organization that is our hope, that is where we're going. It is how we are going to barrel our way into continuing to thrive. I'm here to lead you, but I'm not the one who's doing it. It's you all. And I need you to know that deep in your hearts, that your love has done so much in this church for decades and years and weeks, and that people feel it when they walk in the door. That is your love coming into fruition, being in this space. And for that, I thank you. I invite you to rise in body or spirit, and let us sing our next song. We release this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. We carry these in our hearts until we are together again. These closing words are by the Reverend Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard. The path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage. For deep down there is another truth. You are not alone.